Weekend protests happening on campuses all around the country, and one of those demonstrators arrested at Washington University in St. Louis was Green Party presidential candidate Dr. Jill Stein, and she joins us live now. Dr. Stein, thank you so much for making the time and coming on.
Great. Good to see you. Thank you.
So, Dr. Stein, you say that you and your staff were assaulted by police. What happened?
Well, you can look at the videos that are all over the internet, which show that we were part of a peaceful demonstration, a Gaza encampment for to stop the genocide. Basically, genocide is not a Jewish value. It is very much opposed to the interests of Jews and the security of Israel, actually, and Jews in Israel. It is not an American value. So I don't regard this as pro one side or other. This is pro human rights. This is anti-genocide. This is fundamentally an anti-genocide demonstration where we were asked by students to come and participate and to stand with them as police really threatened them. There in that picture, you actually see us standing with some of the aldermen of St. Louis who are also taking the part of the students and their right to protest, their right to discuss and debate a very critical issue in American foreign policy right now, and their right, of free speech. So we were there, and basically the police charged us, despite our efforts to de-escalate. They charged us with bicycles, and you'll see plenty of footage of that around the internet. They basically used their bicycles as a weapon to push us back, to push us over onto our backs. And in my case, one of the officers actually lifted up one of my feet. You can see in some of this footage where I'm basically being thrown backwards, like onto my head. And I wiggled out of that assault and was told by the officer that I was assaulting him, which is absolutely ludicrous. There was at least one other person who was also charged with assault, who was in fact being assaulted, and about 100 people were arrested and charged with essentially trespassing and resisting arrest. So it was a very unfortunate illustration of the militarization of our police, who've actually been trained very often in conjunction with the Israeli military forces, who are bringing those tactics, very anti-humane and abusive tactics to ordinary policing. You basically have riot police who are creating a riot.
Wow. So you were actually knocked back onto your back and onto the ground during this time?
Yes, and repeatedly. And we would get up to defend ourselves, and the police would charge us again. Today I have like really sore ribs. I'm going to the emergency room to see whether I have a rib fracture, because they were using their bikes as a weapon, basically ramming the handles of the bike into our chests and into my rib cage and trying to flip us over. They were reaching down to grab my feet, to lift up my feet. And you'll see in the very disturbing imagery of this, where I'm being pushed over onto my back and they're lifting up my feet to try to jerk me and flip me backwards. And in just squirming out of their assault, they declared that I was assaulting the police, which is a pretty preposterous proposition.
Have you been charged with anything?
Yes, I am being charged with assaulting a police officer, and I urge you to look at the footage to see what's actually going on there.
What's going through your mind as all of this is unfolding, as you were on your back? What is going through your mind?
That I felt enormous solidarity with the students, because they're the ones who really are risking everything right now to demand a kind of a moral response to this moral emergency and this genocide, which is rolling out every day on our video screens and on our iPhones. I felt so much respect for them, that they are risking their ability to stay in the university, to graduate, to have their credits, to maintain their housing. They have put it all on the line in order to challenge a system that is fundamentally not serving us. In particular, they are challenging the university to divulge, to reveal, and to divest from Boeing in particular, with whom the university has large contracts. They are producing some of the weapons that are killing innocent women and children in Gaza. So, I was feeling this enormous respect for them and a sense of how much they were risking, and how how minimal the violence was compared to what's going on in Gaza. So, you know, it was a miserable experience, to tell you the truth, but it felt so small in the scheme of things. It was a role I was really grateful to be able to play in helping to support the students and their very just and important cause, standing up for our civil liberties and standing up for a policy, you know, that the American people are demanding, which is to end the genocide in Gaza.
And Dr. Stein, we're almost out of time, but I have to ask, what is the path that you see towards peace between Palestine and Israel? And also, do you have a message for President Biden tonight?
Absolutely. I urge President Biden to pick up the phone and call Netanyahu. And I urge President Biden to fulfill his responsibility as commander in chief. It should not be Bibi Netanyahu who is determining our policies in the Middle East, who is trying to drag the U.S. into a war with a green light from Biden and with a, you know, no red lines and no prior consultation required. Our president needs to act like our president and our commander in chief and not put our troops at risk and not put Americans at risk in this enlarging war. He needs to end the genocide in Gaza and the occupation of Gaza right now, as Ronald Reagan did in the early 1980s when he called up the president of Israel and said, bring your troops home, stop the bombing. You are killing innocent women and children in Lebanon. And Israel complied. Joe Biden needs to assert the authority of his office.
Okay. Dr. Jill Stein, I hope that you are well and everything will be okay. Please keep us posted after you go to the ER. But thank you for making the time to speak to us about it tonight.
Great to talk with you, Natasha. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.